Presents What Are the Odds? Starring the Wizard of Odds, Bob Warren. What are the odds on you and your family suffering and surviving the destruction of a flood during your lifetime? What are the odds on detecting counterfeit money, the most profitable swindle of the underworld? And what are the odds on your meeting a beauty contest winner who risked her life for dangerous adventures? Well, in just a few moments, you'll learn these and other odds, and you'll meet Bob Stack, who beat the odds to become a famous actor, after he beat even greater odds by becoming a skeet shooting champion. So stay with us. Odds are you'll enjoy the next half hour. Odds are that 1 out of every 2 floods are caused by dams breaking. In certain areas, the odds are that 1 out of 3 persons will be affected by a flood sometime during the year. The greatest recorded flood disaster was in Henan province in China in 1887, when the Huanghe River overflowed with 900,000 people perishing. In the terrible hurricane at Galveston, Texas in 1900, the 120 miles per hour wind gathered a storm wave that rose to a level of 15 feet above high water, causing $20 million worth of damage and a total of 6,000 people lost. The floods, which happen annually throughout our Middle West, uproot entire towns, leaving thousands of people and animals homeless. So you people who are city dwellers and who have never experienced a flood don't really know how lucky you are that the odds are with you as far as floods are concerned. The decision of the judges. Shirley Tegge wins the title of Miss USA. Well, Shirley has since beat the odds of thousands to 1 to become an adventuress. Shirley, how did you happen to get into the unlikely business of adventuring?
Well, Bob, the contest provided the usual things, the publicity and screen tests and endorsements and so forth, and it paved the way for a very interesting modeling and acting career for me. But as time went on, I found that I got more interested in what was happening behind the camera, and I would ask questions of people, and fortunately the people I asked were tops in their field. Also, I got very interested in flying at this time, and I got my pilot's license in 1953.
You have some film on Lapland, don't you?
Yes, I do. Would you like to see it?
I certainly would, Shirley. Let's look at it.
All right. The Laps, of course, don't like to be photographed. They believe, as many peoples do, that it's a false image, that you're taking something from them. So I had to sort of sneak these shots every once in a while. And when one of the Laps would lasso a reindeer, and, you know, they take them in to slaughter them right there. They wash the meat off in the river, and then they bundle it up in the skins and put the horns on top. And some 50-year-old woman will take up a satchel and sling it over her shoulder and walk back to the camp. They're very strong people.
Amazing.
But getting out in this arena was a little frightening at first. The deer started, you know, to kick around and so forth. They don't like this too well. Each Lap has the reindeer marked on the ear. They belong to certain families, and they sort of wait till they pick one out, you know, and then bring him in for the slaughter.
They're branded like cattle.
And the children do this. They brand the new stock, you know. But the reindeer is not an intelligent animal. All they do is lasso the leader, and then the whole herd of 500 of them follows and keeps moving around in this corral. And of course, they move one way and another, and you have to move pretty quickly to get out of there.
Well, that's very exciting film, Shirley. And I want to thank you very much for telling us how you beat the odds from beauty winner to adventurer, and we want you to accept this membership in our 1,000,000 to 1 club.
Thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you, Shirley. And next time out, if you run into the abominable snowman, will you tell him we got his letter? We're considering him for the next
I
show.
will. Thank you.
Goodbye,
Good
Shirley.
night.
Well, this looks like a hot game of poker, and the stakes are pretty high. Let's just have a look at this fellow's hand. A royal flush. No wonder he's not exactly calm and collected. You know what the odds are he just beat? 109,888 to 1. Poor fellow, when he tries to tell anyone the odds are that high, no one will believe him. Except the other players, when they find out how much money he's won from them. What makes people laugh? Humor. Max Eastman said, however, that only 1 man in 10 had a sense of humor, but he continued 10 men out of 10 thought they had one. What is humor and where is it found? It has been said that true humor springs from the heart, not from the head. Actually, this only bears out the fact that when humor has to be explained, it isn't funny anymore. And people who try to define humor find it as elusive as a butterfly on a summer day. What's funny is funny. That's all there is to it. And the comic either has it or he hasn't. Now, our guest has it. He's a man who's greatly respected in the field of comedy. Perhaps we can learn from him about the odds and oddities of humor. May I present the famous comedian, comic, or call him what you will, Ken Murray.
Thank you, Bob. Glad to be with you.
Sit down, Ken, and welcome to What Are the Odds?
Glad to be here.
Ken, there's one thing I've always wanted to talk to you about. You broke odds of 1,000,000 to 1 by producing a movie that was cast with birds only. Will you tell us about it?
Well, I think you're going to have to rephrase that statement. The odds weren't so much on the casting. It was 1,000,000 to 1 shot or much more than that picture would ever get on the road.
I think it's very interesting that you broke odds of 1,000,000 to 1 being a producer when really you've spent all of your life in humor. Why do people laugh?
I had a little girl with me on our TV show I did called Laurie Anders.
Yes.
You remember? I liked a wide open spaces. And if you remember, she never laughed.
True.
She never laughed. And we had tests at times. I brought on Burl, I brought on Hope, I brought on Gleason, and they'd stand up and try to make this girl laugh. And no one could ever make her laugh. Now, the reason for that being, I finally asked her one day, I said, honey, I don't understand, something's got to make you laugh, somewhere's along the line. And she said, well, Mr. Murray, I don't pay any attention to what they're saying.
Well, thank you very much, Ken Murray, for being with us. If only 1 man in 10 has a sense of humor, you are that one.
Oh, thank you, Bob.
You laughed at and beat odds of 1,000,000 to 1, and that, therefore, entitles you to membership in our 1,000,000 to 1 club. That card makes you an honorary member.
Oh, I thought it was a parking ticket.
We're very glad to have you as a member. Goodbye, Ken.
Good night. Goodbye, Bob.
This is counterfeit money. If you manufacture it, the odds are 95 to 1. You will eventually be caught. So turn your artistic talents to something less risky. The FBI never stops in its pursuit of this type of criminal, because if he's successful, it's possible for him to upset our entire rate of exchange system. The FBI understandably boasts that no counterfeiter, no matter how clever, ever gets away with it for long. The bogus bill artist may make anything from $100 bills to pennies and everything in between. But the bills which lend themselves best for imitation are the $1 bill and the $5 bill. Watch for bills such as these. Look in your own pockets right now. Take out a $1 bill and hold it up to the light. Now, do you see any red threads running through the paper? Or threads reflecting red? If not, your bill's fake. Notice also the color green. It's a unique shade. Counterfeiters have never been able to achieve it. How about the picture? Is the picture off center? How are the eyes? Are they uneven? There are many ways to detect counterfeit money. All you have to do is take the time. You'll be saving yourself a lot of money if you do, and may the odds be with you. And in the meantime, don't take any wooden nickels. If you're of age, that is over 21, and capable of working, the odds are 20 to 1 you are working. Normally, there are 60 million employed in the United States, and normally there are 3 million unemployed. Working against the job seekers, according to the experts, are sloppy dress, poor speech, lack of aggressiveness, and poor qualifications. It's of interest to note that those people who've had their own natural aptitudes and abilities measured do better than those who don't know their own capabilities. Better by odds of 3 to 1. One of the largest employment agencies serving the white-collar worker is Ruth and Roberta, named for the 2 ladies who've carved a career for themselves by helping job seekers. We have them with us. Perhaps they can throw some light on today's unemployment picture. Ladies and gentlemen, Ruth and Roberta. Ruth, why is one person picked over another person for a particular job?
Well, primarily, I believe, because they have the skills and they're more qualified for that particular job.
If you send two girls for a job, and one is a glamour girl and the other not so glamorous, what are the odds for the attractive girl?
If the unglamorous girl had better skills than the glamorous girl, I think that she would perhaps, in fact, I'm sure she'd get the job over a girl who couldn't type, say, if the job called for typing.
How did you girls get into the employment agency business?
Oh, it was quite by accident, wasn't it, Roberta?
It certainly was.
We knew each other for just about 3 months. We had been in the advertising agency business, and we had also been in personnel for a number of years. And we just suddenly decided one day when we were walking down Sunset to go into the employment agency business. And we did.
We've known each other just 3 months, you
3
know,
months.
Bob. So according to your program here, what are the odds? I've often wondered what the odds would be given us for being able to stay in the business 12 years as we have.
And 2 women.
Well, they're probably high against you, but whatever they might have been, you've overcome them, and I want to thank you, girls, Ruth.
Well, thank you for
and
having us.
Roberta, very much for helping us to be enlightened on the unemployment picture, and may the odds continue to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you are an executive, the odds are 3 to 1. You're happy in your job. This doesn't seem to agree very much with the picture painted by the fiction writer, does it? There, we often see a martini-sipping, expense account mad, ulcer-driven man about town. He gets his dander up now and then. 1 out of every 4 bosses clash with their own executives because they feel the big cheese is taking all the credit. 9 out of 10 executives don't even have that luncheon martini that's always talked about. Of the 250,000 people in this country who are bearing the title executive now, only 1 in 680 has a chance of getting close to the top. And in case you think you might be an executive sooner if you marry the boss's daughter, it was found recently that the ordinary working man's son who married the girl next door reached the top in business in an average of 26.1 years, while the boy who married into the top echelon got to the top himself only 73 days sooner. The odds are 210 to 1 against a girl being 6 feet tall or over. We all know the advantages of a man being 6 feet tall or over. He can become anything from a basketball player to a western cowboy on a television show. But what about the girl who walks with her head in the clouds? Our guest is Miss Pat Hopkins. She can tell us the advantages or disadvantages of being tall. Hi, Pat.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
How tall are you?
6'1" and a ½ inch tall in my stocking feet. Well, really 6'1" and 3/8, but just a little lie.
How tall are you with heels?
Well, when I have my heels on, as I do today, and usually do, I am about 6'4", 6'4" and a half.
You've broken odds of 210 to 1 by being so tall, Pat. Can you tell us why you're so tall?
Yes, indeed. I have tall parents and had tall grandparents.
How tall were your parents?
My father was 6'4", and my mother's about 5'8", 5'8" and a half. My grandparents were both tall.
Well, Pat, as a 210 to 1 odds breaker, have you ever had any embarrassing incidents?
Well, yes, but not so much because I'm tall. Actually, the embarrassing incidents that have occurred because of my height have embarrassed other people a great deal more than they have me.
Oh?
For instance, I walked into a full elevator one day, jammed elevator. There was a little bitty girl holding onto her mother's hand. And the minute I got in and the elevator door closed, pardon me, the little girl said in her loudest voice, "Mommy, look at that tall girl." And of course, Mother was completely trapped in the elevator.
Do tall girls tend to get together, or are they clannish, Pat?
For that particular reason, we do have a tall club in the area in Los Angeles. And although both men and women belong, the girls must be 6 feet tall and the men 6'4". California Tip Toppers is the name.
Have you ever dated a man taller than yourself?
Oh, my, yes.
Do you know you've broken odds of 40 to 1 by doing so? Well, Pat, I certainly enjoyed talking to someone who has broken odds of 210 to 1. And I hope the odds will continue to be with you tip-toppers up there. Goodbye, Pat.
Thank you, and goodbye, Bob.
So long. If you are a married man, what are the odds you're henpecked? 2 to 1, you're not. But that still leaves one man in every 3 who gets nagged all the time. Of course, the 2 who aren't henpecked admit to occasional tongue lashings, but for the most part, they are the men of their households. Pardon me, sir. Are you henpecked?
Why?
We're giving away prizes. If you are henpecked, we'll give you a chicken. If you are not henpecked, we'll give you a horse.
Well, I'm not, so give me the horse.
Fine. What color do you want, a white horse or a black horse?
A white one.
A black one, dear.
A white one.
Black one.
A white one.
A black one.
All right, I'll take a black one.
Oh, no, you won't. You'll take a chicken. In the book, What Are the Odds, by Leo Guild, it stated that girls by odds of 5 to 2 rate consideration the most important quality a man can have. Further pursuing the subject, we found that women prefer attractive men with a continental flavor above all others. And the 5 traits we discovered that make up the most romantic type man are these. He should be, number 1, tall, number 2, dark, number 3, handsome, number 4, talented, and number 5, French. Well, we looked around Hollywood in order to find a man who typified this conception, and we were sure we'd found him in Jacques Bergerac. But oddly enough, Jacques failed the test. He was tall, dark, handsome, talented, and as for being French, it was a cinch the odds were in favor of that, or so we thought, but imagine our surprise when we learned that he was not French. Let's hear from Jacques Bergerac himself. Welcome to What Are the Odds, Jacques.
Thank you very much, Bud.
Sit down, will you?
Thank you.
What is this about you not being French, Jacques?
Do you know what Basque is?
Well, vaguely, not really.
The Basque country is a part of France near the Pyrenees Mountains. And the Basque people live there. I've been living there for about, since the 8th century, actually. They came from Asia on horseback. And they are a race of their own, which is very different from either the French or the Spanish race. And that's where I come from.
Do you have theater in the Basque country?
No theater at all. It's a very rugged country. You see, it's just on the Pyrenees Mountains, which are the border between France and Spain. And all the Basque people, most of them are sheep herders or sailors. And therefore there is no entertainment, no theater, nothing of that kind.
Well, how did you become an actor, coming from stock such as that?
Well, actually, it's a very good question. I guess I beat the odds in doing so. I was raised there, and when I was about 17 years old, I went to Paris to study law, and there, in going to Paris, I discovered many things, including the theater, and I became more and more interested in the theater, and that's how I became an actor.
What is the population of the Basque country, Jacques?
Oh, it's about 400,000, about.
Well, actually, you've broken odds of 400,000 to 1 by being an actor from the Basque country. Thank you, Jacques Bergerac. It's been a pleasure talking to you. May the odds continue to be with you.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.
What are the odds that a double bed for a married couple will ensure greater marital happiness? Or will twin beds be better? The American Institute of Family Relations found that twin beds were actually unfavorable for marital happiness. Husbands and wives who had slept in both double and twin beds preferred, by odds of 4 to 1, the double bed. The Stanford Research Organization, after interviewing 800 couples, found that, and I'm quoting, sleeping arrangements do not affect marital happiness. However, it does seem odd, doesn't it, that only 1 out of every 5 married couples have twin beds? The odds are 1,101 to 1 against a married couple staying together long enough to celebrate their 35th wedding anniversary. Contrary to common belief, the situation is no worse or better in Hollywood. The odds remain the same. It's just that there are headlines in heartbreak. And when stars divorce, they're subject to reams of publicity.
What the public never hears about are the very happy marriages that go on in quiet contentment. Celebrated couples such as the Jack Bennys, the Danny Thomases, George Burns and Gracie Allen, and the Ray Millans have been together for 15 years and upwards. Our guest broke the odds of 1,101 to 1 when he and his wife recently celebrated anniversary number 35. Besides being a member of Hollywood society, he's one of music's most distinguished citizens. May I present Mr. Lawrence Melchior.
Hello, Bob.
How do you do, sir?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you be here.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Welcome to What Are the Odds? And tell us, how do you account for breaking the odds of 1,101 to 1? By staying married all these years.
Well, I think it depends upon a lot of things. I think that the secret of life is for two grown-up people to find the road to walk together, what the one look after and what the other should look after. And then there's one thing, they must always believe in their love to each other.
Thank you, Lawrence Melchior, for telling us how you and your wife stayed happily together and broke the odds of 1,101 to 1. We all look forward with you to your golden anniversary, and may the odds be with you then as now.
Now, Bob, you have the recipe.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye.
Odds are 5 out of every 9 solitaire players are women. On the other hand, men are accused of deserting these same women in order to play poker. But that's an unjust accusation because poker ranks a rather low 4th in card game popularity in the United States. First comes canasta. 37% of all card players know how to play canasta. And 35 million Americans play bridge. After these two, the most played card games are pinochle and the poor beleaguered poker, then solitaire, rummy, 500, hearts, gin rummy, and cribbage. Getting back to solitaire, face the facts. More women sit alone and play cards than men by odds of 5 to 4. These odds add up to a lot of lonely ladies. Perhaps the amount of solitary female card players accounts for the old saying, lucky at cards, unlucky in love. Skeet shooting has become a tremendously popular pastime in the United States. In the 1950s, almost 1 million people participated in both skeet and trap shooting, with more than 1 billion targets thrown in the air. The popular actor Robert Stack was at 16 an all-American skeet champion who held 2 world's records. Bob gathered new glory when he became a member of the national 5-man championship squad and won the national 20-gauge championship to top off his career. We welcome him as the well-known actor that he is, but more importantly, we salute him as a real champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Stack. Welcome to What Are the Odds, Robert?
Bob?
How did you happen to get started in skeet shooting, Bob?
Well, Bob, my grandfather was a great trap shot, and Dad is a good shot, and I used to love to go out and watch my father shoot and all. One day, I remember I picked up a magazine about a boy called Billy Clayton who won the Great Eastern Championship at the age of 15, and I figured, well, I was at that time about 14 myself, and I thought, well, if he could do it, I could do it, and I went out and I practiced a year, and luckily I took to it. It took to me, and the funny thing was that we went back to the first national championships, and we both tied for the junior championship, and I got lucky, and I beat him.
Why did you turn your interest from sports to acting, Bob?
Well, the main reason, Bob, is because I had to make a living. I think that it's pretty hard to make a living out of sports, and the other thing was, of course, that I'm awfully lucky because acting is such fun, and it's like when you can get work, it's like getting paid for having a good time.
Thank you, Bob Stack, for telling us a bit about skeet shooting and a bit more about your career. You've proven yourself a real champion in both fields, and may the odds continue in your favor.
Thank you very much.
Figure the odds and then mix in a little luck. How can you lose with a combination like that? In future shows, you'll see such well-known personalities who beat the odds as Gladys Parker, Corinne Griffith, Sidney Skolsky, Johnny Longden, and a host of others. If any of you at home beat the odds or know someone who has, write to What Are the Odds, Hollywood 38. If we use your odds, you'll be invited to Hollywood as our guest.
And in addition to other gifts, you'll also receive an all-expense-paid vacation for two at the fabulous Stardust Hotel in Las Vegas. All odds are authenticated by the editorial staff of the Encyclopedia Americana and calculated by the Royal Precision Electronic Miracle Computer. And remember this, to turn the odds in your favor is the gift of few. Goodbye, and may the odds be with you.